All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to Sports Talk with BWatts Entertainment. I have my boys here with me tonight, Rob the Man Media and the legendary himself, Coach Drake, and our special guest, Uncle Neely of the PreGame show right there in Colorado. And we want to thank our sponsor tonight, that's the Marist Bank, for being our sponsor for the last 3 months, and we appreciate them. If you need a checking account, saving account, or any kind of loan, hey, just give them a call and they will assist you to the best of their ability. All right, let me bring the guys up and we're going to get this show on the road. I don't want to hold Mr. Needle all night. I hate this part here when I make this transition. All right, I got that out the way. Let's see. Rod, man, we good. So, Rod,
Yo, what's going on, BWatts?
Coach Dre, y'all doing all
Good
right? Can y'all hear
afternoon.
me?
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, like I say, man, it's been a long week for me. I got Uncle Needle backstage. I'm gonna bring him up in about 5 minutes. Just want to chop it up with y'all for a few. And boy, got the president been shot at. Then we had the president, the former president, shot at. Now we got the president say he wasn't going to run for re-election. And boy, that's a lot going on right there. Everybody blowing my phone up. I said, hey, you still gonna do the show? I said, yeah, I'm still gonna do the show. Let that go between you this right here. But before we bring Uncle Neil up, man, let's talk about Colorado right quick before Uncle Neil in. Something I want to ask y'all about. People are making that conclusion already about CU, Coach Prime and Colorado football team, and they haven't even played a game yet. They're making predictions. Some say they're gonna go 6-6. Some say they're gonna go 10-2, and they haven't even played a game or put on the pads. So, what do y'all think about that? That's what's going on around the media circle around Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Ray.
Well, it starts off with being scared. I mean, you don't want what you don't know, you're fearful of. So you don't know what this can do. And if this works like we believe and know it's going to work, then everything that everybody else or whatever the media wants you to believe, now there's a narrative. And now it's, oh, well, y'all just was taught. Oh, y'all just was, no. Coach Prime gonna do things his way. He has a system that he believes in. It's been effective, and everybody has an opinion, and we're not gonna argue with nobody's opinion. We ain't gonna fuss about nobody's opinion. We just gonna believe in what we believe in. Uh, so when it comes down to it, you let people like that talk, because they haven't seen it before, so they don't want to believe it. Some people they visual. They want to see it before they can believe it. But see, people like that, then you didn't really have the faith. Faith without works is dead. But
True.
to have faith means that I'm gonna put my faith in you before this even transpires. That's what faith is. People think faith is, oh, well, I got faith in you, but I can have no. When I have faith in you, complete faith, I leave it right there, and I believe in what you're doing. And so that's what we're doing. Most of us here, and that's what we're gonna continue to do. So the media, they're doing their job. They controversy is what people want to sell. Nobody wants to hear positive. Nobody wants to hear. Everybody wants negative. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're pushing in the country. Oh, let's talk about this. Oh, let's talk about what he has done for young men and the positive change that he has brought. And that's all I want to talk about. If we ain't talking about that, then it's whatever. But people have their opinion, and they have their right to.
Rob?
Hey, I just want you to, if you say 6-6, stand on your 66 and let the season play it out. Because when I look at this team, a lot of people don't know what this team looks like. They probably want to attend one fall practice to see what this team look like. all they doing is just going out on faith because they trying to tell you what can't be done. And all problem trying to do is show you what can be done. And so when you look at that, stand on what you stand on, because you haven't seen a coach in the past do it, it's hard to believe. But there's a
Oh,
lot of
it's
coaches.
so did. I done told
Now,
y'all.
let me
Steve
get
Spurrier
there.
did it.
I'm
Steve
gonna cook it
Spurrier
up
was
now.
a
Let me get there now.
okay. I just gonna say I
Let me
don't
get
want y'all. Just say you ain't seen a black man done. Steve Spurrier
let,
did.
let, let me get there because I'm about to cook it up. They ain't did it to the realm of how Coach Prime has done it, right? They had a high school class, big high school class or something like that to help them. When you talk about nobody has done it from the transfer portal cycle, right? Nobody has built a team through the transfer portal and had success with winning from year 1 to year 2 because it hasn't been done yet. This is all the transfer portal's been out there, but to allow unlimited transfers, to allow people to get a second and third chance to transfer to a school and don't have to sit out. That's the part what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Nobody's done it yet. There's been some coaches that's done it. Matt Rule has done it where he's had a bad first year, got the second year. So there are coaches out there that's done it, but it's been done a different way. So because the recipe's been done a different way, people don't know what to think. All they see is a bunch of pieces that come together, but they're not looking at the totality of how much better this team can be or will be based upon the pieces that came in. Because the issue that we had last year was we was too small, offensive defensive line, right? So if we was too small on offensive defensive line and we got a lot bigger, don't that translate to W's?
Should.
It should, right? When
It
you look
will.
at the secondary, right? One of the biggest complaints people talking about the cornerback position, right? We got better at the corner position. We got better at wide receivers, right? Because all you heard was Zay Weaver, Horn, Travis, and that was it. Occasionally you heard Morion. Now what we got this year? LaJonte, Will, Caleb Mathis still there, Jimmy Horn's there, Travis there, C5. So when you start to look at it, you start to break down every position or what they said we didn't have last year, we got it this year. But you
Right.
gonna tell me,
Yeah, you're right.
that translates to 2 more wins? Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. Right. All right. Let's bring Uncle Neely up the game show and let's get his thoughts on big timer.
What's going on, brothers? Good to be here with y'all, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Welcome to Sports Talk with BWatts Entertainment, along with RobDaManMedia and Coach Dre on a Sunday night. First of all, I want to say appreciate you for accepting my invitation to join the show. You just don't know how much it means to me and us and the people in the panel that you come on and share some light on Coach Prime and the Colorado football team. But before we do that, we want to know something about you. And I did my research. You down there in Jackson, I think Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm here right now.
Oh, you hear that right now? Man,
Yeah.
I remember 20 years ago, I did my TV show, right? It was a gospel TV show. So I had Pastor E. Dewey Smith on there,
Yeah.
I.E. Mac. I had all those on there. We did it for 20 years, right? So I said, I got to juice it up. I got to juice it up. So I add a gospel video program to the show. And went down to Jackson, Mississippi and met a man by the name of Lee Williams and the spiritual QC. Good God Almighty. Boy, that was a bad joke there, boy. And then he introduced me to the Williams brothers. I promoted their concert for 10 years, every once a year, man. They draw over 3,000 people every time. So
Oh
that's
man.
what I remember about Jackson, Mississippi. So tell me, Uncle Neely, how did you build the pregame show network down there in
Well,
Jackson, Mississippi?
we were covering Jackson State football before Coach Prime got there. We were covering all sports with Jackson State. Had a great relationship with the athletic director, who's still the athletic director there now, Ashley Robinson. So we were doing some things as alums and supporters of the school to cover Jackson State athletics. Lo and behold, Coach Prime gets hired, and I had no idea that he was watching, our program and what we were doing. And about midway of that COVID spring season, which was his first football season at Jackson State, that spring of 2021, he called me up and said, like what you're doing, brother. I want to see you do more of it, but I want to see you do it from the inside. So instead of reporting on what you think may be going on, you got my invitation to be at practice, at team meetings, come to whatever you want to cover to get the word out of what we're trying to accomplish. We did that for 2 more seasons. He had 2 more regular kind of fall seasons where he went back-to-back undefeated in conference and won SWAC championship. And when he got the opportunity to go to Colorado, he said, "Look, you're more than welcome to come, but before you make your mind up, just come see it." So I went out there with him December when he was transitioning, and it was like Miss Seeley and Suge Avery. When Suge got ready to pull off for Mr., Seeley got in the car with him.
That's all right, Doc.
You
That's
ain't
all right.
leaving me.
But check this out now. When you were covering him down there at Jackson State,
Mm-hmm.
how was the atmosphere then?
Man, I tell people all the time, great question, BWatts. I tell people all the time what he's dealing with and what we're facing in Colorado from the media. It's like watching part 2 of a movie we experienced at Jackson State. There were people who didn't believe in him because of what happened the first season, which was his evaluation period. We had that COVID spring season. And he told people then, you better get me now because you won't get me later. And sure enough, back-to-back undefeated in conference with conference championships. So there's always been doubters and there's always been haters and people who, shoot shots at him and that kind of thing. But he just has his head down, focused on winning and getting guys to the next level. And he is brilliant at doing that. So a lot of what's taking place when people say what can't be done and y'all won't do this, it's like water off a duck back. It don't hold on us.
Oh man, that's good to know. I got one more question before I turn over to Raw. Staying right there in Jackson State. So when the other coach said he ain't SWAC, what what kind of effect did that leave on Coach Prime really?
It was really humorous, man. He laughed at it because it was code word and an insult. What he was really saying is you ain't black.
Yeah, exactly. I think
What he was trying to suggest is because here's a guy who's been at the NFL and Hall of Famer. He just got dropped off in our conference and coaching at the HBCU for the first time when others of us have been here for years. He ain't one of us. He ain't us. And to be from North Fort Myers and North Fort Myers High School, to endure what he endured growing up there and get a scholarship to Florida State. If Deion Sanders ain't been nothing all his life, he's been black. And so he really laughed at it and then turned it against that coach. And he was able to do more with the insult than the coach did with it. Because you had I ain't SWAC, he ain't SWAC shirts and hats and merchandise. So, sometimes, man, people will throw rocks at you and they don't understand you using those same rocks to build a wall and build a monument. So he took it and ran with it.
All right, go ahead, Rob.
First of all, thanks, for coming on to the show with us, Uncle Neely. When you look at the transition from Jackson State to Colorado, how's it been for you? Going into your second year at Colorado, how was that first, the build up, right? Coming off the celebration championship to now the just every single day, just the like nonstop chaos last year going into the season.
Hey, man, it was just that it was chaos because we literally walked off the field of the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta and we're getting ready to go to an airport to go to Colorado for his second time, my first time. And so it came at you fast. You ever seen that little dog in the neighborhood that chase cars?
Yeah.
Well, what he don't know is what the hell you're going to do with it if you catch it. And we caught a car, and now we had to figure out what to do with it. We didn't have a transition period like you had at Jackson State where we had that kind of COVID spring that, in a lot of people's minds didn't count. We had to go in and rebuild the roster, rebuild the staff, and all that is taking place while you're trying to get ready to play football. So the odds preparation-wise were stacked against us for that first season because you spent so much of what would have been football time, you spent that on organizational issues because they weren't one win by accident. They didn't have 10 years of losing record by accident. It was a losing culture there. And that's all the way from custodian staff, to just people working in the building. And Coach Prime has this mindset and mentality, this mantra that if you touch the program, if you touch the players, you have to have a winning mindset and belief. So there was a lot of house cleaning that had to take place. Everybody sees that video when he was talking about players getting in the portal. Well, there were a lot of professional people that had to get in the portal as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was my next point I was going to go to. You know, when you look at the staff transitioning out of there into the staff that's there now, and you start to see it's starting to be more of a family culture. Just explain, like, you know, the everyday of like just going from year 1 to year 2, and just a family culture that's changed in and outside the program that the people don't realize, right? A lot of people just see the glitz and the glamour, but they don't see the transition of the people that's leaving to the people that's coming and how impact they're making on the program.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rob. I think that I heard you guys talking before I brought on that about the players and how those positions have upgraded. I feel the same way about the staff. The chemistry and camaraderie of this staff. If you look at just the defensive side of the ball, and you look at Coach D. Lou, now affirmed as a D-line coach, you look at Warren Sapp, Hall of Famer, you look at Vincent Dancy, who played defense in college at Jackson State, was head coach at Valley, now he's coaching the DNs. These guys work together, man, like they've been together 15 years already. And they haven't even been together 15 months, barely been together 15 weeks. And so what's that going to spell for the success of the young men they're coaching, their readiness? You really can't put a measuring stick on it. Coach Prime will tell you, if he was on right now, that there were some growing pains with his first staff. He had to figure some things out. Again, you know, when you go into a situation and it's recruiting time, when you get hired and you already in a job and you transitioning, there's a lot of times you may not get the coach you want. You just got to pick amongst what's available, because everybody's been hired at that point. So he was able to bring some people on and kind of monitor them and see if they really fit his vibe or not over the year. Made some coaching changes at the end of last season. And you'll see now with this staff is going to take this program up even further.
All right, Coach Dre. Got anything?
What's going on, Uncle Neely? Appreciate you coming
You got
on
it,
with
Coach.
us. I mean, you hit it on the head. That's the thing. I kind of want people to see the inside of the relationships and the way that Coach Prime goes about building a staff. When I said it, they made it seem like, oh, you just a homer, you just this, that, and the third. But I'm telling you, nobody else doing this. I see it. But can you explain to them that he was just going about the business because all I could do was pick from this litter, and now I have the pick of all the litter, so I can get the best of the best, and how some of these friendships turned into coaches because they didn't want to see that happen to their brothers.
Man, let me give you a couple different things when I address that, Coach Dre. I'm gonna tell you a quick childhood story from here in Mississippi. I was a little boy and I was on the tomato row with my granddaddy. And he said, all right, you work that side and we're going to go to the end. We're going to pick some tomatoes. Well, I'm just walking. I'm looking. We get down to the end of the row. He got a sack full and I ain't got none. And he said, man, what you doing? I said, well, I was looking for the best one. I got to just keep walking. I never found the best one. He said, man, we got to eat. You picked the damn tomatoes right there in your face. And so when Coach Prime inherited that program, you got to hire people, and you got to hire based on the constraints of your budget. You know, because keep in mind, when that original staff was let go, you still have to pay them. They're on the contract.
Right.
And so now you got not only the calendar working against you because coaches have already been put in place. You got to re-recruit somebody from a job they've just accepted. You got to find a way to put that salary in the budget. You may not be getting the guy you want year one, but you're trying to get the best guy that's available. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you make a change, in the next year. And that's exactly what happened with this staff. And you will see, Coach Dre, that the chemistry of this staff, because you have more people now who've been there, done that on the staff. You have guys on the staff who played in the NFL. You got guys on the staff who've been head coaches and been coordinators. So they mesh much better and pressure doesn't rattle them. A lot of folks wanted to point at the players last year in some big moments and some big games, and we gave up big plays and collapsed. But let me give you all this inside information. We had some coaches that collapsed during big moments.
Sure did. Oh,
So
yeah.
we had some decision makers who folded under the bright lights. They're no longer with us. The team is going to be better this year because of that.
Oh man,
I
appreciate that
mean,
insight.
I mean, I mean that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And what I like is I coach, so I understand what the process is. Is if that coaching staff doesn't have that brotherhood, how you gonna lead when you teaching one thing but y'all ain't showing it? It's hard for kids these days to buy that.
Yeah.
And then I think I said once before is Warren Sapp can go in and say this how you play the three technique at practice, but then I can go in the film room and say, hey, sit down, watch me when I did this. And for kids nowadays, that's what they want to see. They don't just want to see the talk; they want to see the actions. And then the deep dive into how much he cares about these young men, not just the stars, but just the average Joes is what some people might call them. But how he makes those kids feel like they're stars in other areas of this football team that makes them feel like they're just as important as a Travis Hunter or Shador Sanders or Shiloh Sanders.
Yeah, that's well said, brother. And that's spot on, Coach Dre. Coach Prime has said this before, and I've seen it in action. If it wasn't for names on the back of the jersey and some of the kids being white, you wouldn't know his kids biologically from just a play on the team because he treats them all the same. He gives them all the same opportunity. He puts them in the best position to be successful with what they bring to the table, and he pushes them to bring the best out of them. Coach Dre, let me give you this about coaching, because sometimes you can have something wrong, but ain't nothing wrong. It just don't work out. It just don't fit. I have the utmost respect for Coach Charles Kelly, who was the defense coordinator last year. I haven't been around a person who has more experience and knowledge about the nuances of defenses than a Charles Kelly. But here was the challenge with Charles Kelly's system. We were trying to win now, right? We're trying to win right now. His defense was built around coaching you 2 or 3 years. You know, it was that Alabama system where you learn it. And by the time you're a junior or senior, you're going to the NFL because you done mastered this. Well, in this new world of the transfer portal and win right now, you're not necessarily coaching the same player for 3 years or 4 years. You're barely coaching them for 2. Now, you take that and you put in Coach Rob Livingston, who came from the Cincinnati Bengals. What he did was he evaluated the talent on the roster and said, what scheme can we create based off the talent that we have? And so instead of me trying to force a playbook down your throat, if we have 11 guys that can do this and do this together, that's the defense we're going to run. And at any given moment, we're going to have the best 11 players on the field versus having 11 guys that's trying to learn something and just kind of you hoping that they're going to learn in trial by fire. And that's how they were giving up big plays.
Wow.
Hold on, Uncle Neely, hold on. So for all y'all people who beat me down when I told y'all that 2-3 months ago, that was the difference. That Charles Kelly has a system that is proven and has won national championships, and he already has a system. But Coach Prime went and got a guy who's going to evaluate the talent and play to their strengths. Y'all heard it from Uncle Neely. Maybe y'all believe him now. Go ahead.
But I don't know if they can believe you or me, but they're going to believe when they see it, because I'm telling you this. We're going to give up fewer big plays. Giving up big plays happens. It's part of football. We're going to give up fewer big plays. We're going to play defense on the other side of the line of scrimmage more, meaning sacks and tackles for loss. And we're not going to give up big runs at the wrong times of the game. And also we're not going to have stupid penalties at the wrong time during the game. It's not going to be 3rd and 4, and we jump and cross the line of scrimmage, and then 5-yard penalty, they got a first down now instead of getting ready to punt the ball. So there's a lot of dynamic changes that's going to happen just because of the upgrade in coaching.
For sure. And to that point, what I want to transition to, you hit something right on the head. But I'm gonna take a step back, right? When you talk about the coaching staff from last year to this year, right, and the elevation, the evolution of it. What were some of the things in the relationships that you built from last year's season to help your network grow to this season when it comes to interviewing coaches and learning more about the player personnel?
Gotcha. Great question. I think there's a baseline of trust because I was there before they got there. You know, they know Coach Prime wouldn't have me walking around the building with a camera if I wasn't legit. So there's a baseline of trust. But then I think people have to see your work and get to know you. And so whether it was coaches that were with us last year, like if you watched the pregame show last year, I probably didn't interview anybody more than I interviewed Charles Kelly. You know, because he was open about the challenge of the defense and what was going wrong or what was going right. And so when people know that you're not out to get them, you know, that you're trying to just share information and let them tell their side of the story, what they saw and why they made this decision versus, you know, armchair quarterback just that's playing John Madden and think he know everything. They understand like, oh, I can trust this guy. I can be open with him. He can come in my position meetings because I know even though he's seeing everything, he got sense enough not to show the board in the play. He got sense enough to mute out the play call and what we call this because you want to share what's going on, but you don't want to give away competitive advantage.
Correct.
Right. Let me ask this question for you, Uncle Neely.
Yes, sir.
What was the impact of Travis Hunter coming to play for Coach Prime at Jackson State on his coaching career?
You know, let me say this before I say that. One of the things that happened at Jackson State and is now happening at Colorado that show you that it don't matter if you're a black man around black folks or a black man around white folks, people gonna shoot at you. It's funny to me how Travis Hunter coming out of high school was #1 in the nation. And the minute he agreed to go play for Coach Prime at the HBCU, they dropped him to #5. It's amazing to me how Juju, who is looking hard at Colorado, let me put it that way, is everything since bread began to be sliced. But now, well, he really ain't all that. And so what people don't like about Coach Prime is how successful he is in communicating to young black people. And when you look at football across America, this is a sport that is heavily dominated by our people as far as who plays this sport. And he's trying to change that on who coaches this sport, and they don't like that either. So the impact that it had, it really showed that, hey, man, if this brother in his first year coaching can be at a HBCU and all the struggles that brings with it, and he can convince the #1 player in America at his position to come there, man, what would he do with some resources behind him? What would he like? It became a threat. And even though Coach Saban and Coach Prime have a good relationship, it was such a threat that Coach Saban went to his boosters and said, "Say, this is the reason we got to dig deeper." Like they're getting top players to come to schools that have never threatened us before. We got to dig deeper in our pockets. Fast forward, the NIL happens. Coach Saban just said, "Hey, I got to get the hell out of here. I can't compete in this new world of football. This I can't do this." And so folks have to understand that the more successful, let me be clear when I say folks, what you know college football to be, this white male head coach, white male media, they understand that the more successful he is, that the pendulum is going to swing toward that. You're going to have more black coaches hired. You're going to have more black media channels like this. Because here's the only thing, I say this to you, BWatts, and everybody on here. The only thing that separated you from Paul Feinbaum is that Paul Feinbaum had Nick Saban's phone number. Paul Feinbaum ain't no genius. He don't know nothing more about sports than you know. He just had access. So when you start having black coaches get hired across America and they start giving black media people access, there's some people don't want that to happen, brother.
You right.
Hey,
you sure right about
Prime,
that.
hey, listen, Prime mentioned that, and that's why they throwing the shots at Prime now, because they don't want the black media to take over.
Yeah, because it's all about who has the information.
Right. That's all it's about.
Again, y'all got to understand. Paul Feinbaum, his show started in the SEC. He's an SEC guy.
Yeah.
He wants the SEC to stay on top. The SEC pays the ESPN pays the SEC. So if the Big 12 comes and takes over, and we can't get Colorado to come to the SEC, we got to do any and everything we can to push it that way. So when sometimes, as a coach, I tell guys all the time, sometimes I talk to another kid to get through to the whole team. Paul Feinbaum taking shots at the biggest person that's the biggest threat to the SEC. And that's fine.
Thanks.
He's the biggest threat to the SEC. Because, and again, nobody has done it that way. Another thing, Uncle Neely, can you talk to him about the way where the transition from what you saw? Well, this is what I want you to understand, that to tell them to understand the relationship that Coach has when we talk about a Mathis and we talk about a Hart, and let people understand that, hey, this runs deeper than football. These roots are ground in, this is solid rock that I built my foundation with. Because I think some people feel like, hey, he's just doing his friends a service, and not that these guys are great coaches and great men.
You know, I don't I can't even tell you, Coach, how much I appreciate that question and the way you framed it. Because I don't understand us. Like this is 5 black people talking right here. And when Dr. Buss put Jenny Buss in a position to run the Lakers, nobody said a damn thing.
True.
But when one of us put one of us in a position to do something that they're actually qualified to do and have been successful doing, now the world want to cry nepotism and hookups, and he don't deserve that. Right. Coach Prime has played ball at every level you can play. He has been a highly recruited high school athlete by a Power 5, went to a Power 5. He was drafted in the first round. He has negotiated contracts with multiple teams. He ended up a Hall of Famer. He did the same thing in baseball without, the Hall of Fame in the World Series per se. He has been there, done that in television and marketing. His relationships extend 30 years. And he has some coaches who have been with him, mentoring young people in Metro Dallas area or played with him in the NFL. Why would he not, when he got this opportunity, then share that opportunity with them? Because not only were they with him historically, they were with him at Jackson State and won 2 back-to-back conference championships, undefeated in conference championships. So why would I think Andre Hart, who coached with me at Truth, coached with me at Trinity, coached with me at Jackson State, I'm not going to give him a chance to be the linebacker coach in Colorado because people are going to say something? Like, here's what you're not going to do to Deion Sanders. Your opinion of him is not going to change how he operates. Like that, he ain't finna go like, well, man, I would do that for you, Neely, but what BWatts gonna say? Right. No. If it's right, Coach Prime gonna do it. Right. And he is Vincent Dancy, man. The only reason Vincent Dancy at Mississippi Valley wasn't Coach of the Year in Mississippi, and the SWAC, I should say, is because Deion Sanders was winning it because he was going undefeated. What Vincent Dancy was doing at It'll Be in Mississippi with about half the scholarships that the rest of the SWAC had, with mosquitoes bigger than your hand, with dawn falling in, a practice field that, looked like what he was doing there. Coach Prime said, man, this brother can coach there. Why would I not give him a shot? And where he was going to be very difficult for him to move up. Now he's gone from an analyst at Colorado to coaching the defensive ends, and his fingerprints are so much on that defense that the phone is going to ring, and Vincent Dancy is going to be a defensive coordinator in the Power 4, at least a mid-major, and then a head coach one day. All because of opportunity Coach Prime gave, and what Coach Prime didn't do is say, well, I ain't going to do it because somebody going to say something.
You know the thing that gets me nearly is when they talk about Coach Hart, Fleet, is it wasn't a problem, it was at Jackson State. How did it become a problem in Colorado?
That's a good question.
Because people be pocket watching and player hating.
Pocket watch. They do a lot of that, nigga.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Coach Prime did, speaking of pocket watching, he knew that some of these brothers, particularly ones who didn't play longer or, majorly in the NFL with big contracts, he knew that some of these brothers, this is going to be the most money they were going to have ever made in their lives coaching in Colorado. And the first meeting we had there was with a financial advisor, a friend of his, showing them how to set up their money, how to buy their house in Colorado, how to protect their investments with this new income, et cetera, et cetera. Because he understands, like, hey, our goal ain't to just get it. Our goal is to keep it.
Keep it. That's it.
And so let me show you what I learned, because Coach Prime will tell you, he said, man, I didn't get a bank account until I left Florida State. Like I didn't know nothing about that stuff. My first money was my NFL money. And so I'm trying to make sure that people don't have to go through what I went through. So let me show you that when you make this much, what you should do with it versus what the way you used to be. So he is not just a football coach and a mentor. He's doing everything, man, to make folks around him be as successful as possible. But again, I ain't never seen Jeannie Buss shoot a shot or take a dribble. Don't nobody say a word when she running away.
Well, they play good or bad. You're right, Lily. Check this out. The recruit. Let's talk about the recruiting staff. What kind of job you think they done did so far for Coach Prime?
Let me tell you this, man. Because I heard y'all talking earlier, about whether we're gonna be 6-6 or 10-2 or who knows what. Here's what I can tell you, beyond a shadow of doubt. Every position on that team, and I'm not talking about the unit, I'm talking about individuals. So not just the defensive line, the individuals that make up the defensive line, not just the offensive line, the individuals that make up the offensive line. Right. Every position on this team is better than it was last year. Travis Hunter has put on 17 pounds of muscle, but lost nothing in speed. Shador's accuracy has gone up, and his core strength has gone up. So his body is designed now to take a little more punishment than it probably could have took 2 years ago. You look at the offensive line upgrades all the way across the line, and then 2.5 deep. So we have 2 offensive lines plus half of one on the bench. Much better. Defensive line is built to stop the run and get to the quarterback. This was a team that I think, man, maybe we lost 4 games last year by less than 1 score, or we're within 1 score, in the fourth quarter. We probably only had 2 games that we just wasn't going to win. That was Oregon and Washington State. There's no way that the outcome of this year is not going to be better than last year. And to answer your question, BWatts, that's because of the job that Corey Phillips and his team doing recruiting. They didn't just go out and just sign people because we clearly needed everything. They went out and evaluated talent, and then even evaluated, does that talent mindset fit in our locker room? Because just because you can block for a guy don't mean you can block for our quarterback. Just because you can catch a ball don't mean you can catch a ball from our quarterback. Just because you can tackle somebody doesn't mean you can tackle Fort Warren South. There's a lot of nuances to this thing above and beyond just going out there and grabbing bodies. You have to make sure they fit the culture and the blueprint of what you're trying to do. And I think Corey Phillips, of course, with the direction of Coach Prime, has done that this year. And I think people are going to be surprised at what they see product-wise on this field.
Good answer. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, no, I was just, the elevation and the evolution of, the recruiting staff and the strength and conditioning team. How big is that, seeing, what from Jackson State, right? Having Coach Mo to now seeing him elevate his team at Colorado State. Can you talk more and elaborate more of, how much, Coach Mo has transitioned his team? Because that's the people that really don't get talked about. The people that's really putting in the work to help these guys get to where they're getting to, they don't get talked about enough. And we always forget about those guys. But talk about how that team with the strength and conditioning team, along with the recruiting team, has helped build this team and transition this team for this year.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I talked to Coach Phil Lodeholt, the offensive line coach, and he told me that Tyler Brown is the strongest player he's ever been around at any level. And Tyler Brown then said that's because of Coach Mo and his staff. When you look at how Travis's body has changed, that's because of Coach Mo and his staff. But when you peel it back and you go back to the Jackson State days, you also have to consider that Coach Mo came from Georgia, and he's worked at Clemson, and so he knows what it takes to win a championship. And he's brought in staffers that were with winning programs. But he, just like Coach Prime, was kind of behind the 8 ball that first spring going into that summer because everything was just coming at you so fast. You had so much talent currently on the team that was under the bar of what you need to be to compete in the Pac-12. And then how do we address that? Not from a recruiting standpoint, because we got to play with these guys. And I think what you're seeing now is what happens with Colorado strength and conditioning when it has a full football calendar year, which is not the same thing as the calendar year when you pick up your phone. And so when they had a true strength and conditioning program that starts the minute the last game ends. And so now we can evaluate who's coming back, evaluate where they are. We can make a program tailored to where we need to get them. And so you see that happening. These guys are going to be faster. They're going to be stronger. They're going to have more tenacity to them and more camaraderie because they have been put through the ringer this offseason and forced into, coming together because of the difficulty of what's taking place in the weight room and strength and conditioning wise. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think one of the things I love, Rob, is when I look at the comments on my videos on the Pregame Show Network. Last year, posted video, and the first 50 comments is, "Damn, these guys look small." This year, you post a video, and you don't hear none of that no more.
Yeah.
You don't see people saying they look small no more. Like, whether that's a returning guy or a new guy, when you walk in the room, man, these dudes look like football players.
That's good. That's good to know that. Let me talk about you saw the recruitment of Jordan Seaton, and you seen him his first day in, and I'm sure you don't see him since you left. Tell us something about the progress of Jordan Seaton as a freshman in college.
So a couple different directions on that, BWatts, is one, I think the world has kind of been unfair to Jordan because he is much more than what people let on. His flexibility, his strength, his speed, all of the things that people were complimenting, I don't think they were complimenting him enough on. Now, do not get me wrong. He is a freshman. He is a man child. He has some growing to do. But his personality and his professionalism, which I think is something, he really harnessed at IMG and coming up, he is ready to play, man. And he's going to be a starter. Like, he's going to be a freshman out there starting because he's ready to play. And I'll say this to the world that's listening. Coach Prime doesn't recruit people that he doesn't expect to be ready to play. Like, he doesn't have a plan where it's like, man, come here and sit down a couple of years. No, I need you now because I need you now. And Jordan Seaton is one of those guys that's going to make an impact, on this team. I love the way that the O-line coach has, taken Tyler Brown, who has a lot of experience, had to sit out last year because of NCAA, and put him next to him so he can communicate with him and help him through those growing pains. And then on the other end, you got Justin Mayers and Khalil Benson. And get this, dog, other than the center, what offensive line in college football that's not an HBCU got an all-black offensive line?
Yeah, you're right. You sure right.
This is game changing. Normally that's them big white boys from Nebraska, just corn-fed that play O-line. But this O-line has some brothers on it. They have the skill set. And you have an offensive line coach and Coach Lodeholt, man, has been there, done that. Played at Oklahoma. Played high level with the Vikings, coached it at Ole Miss, so he knows his stuff and he's getting these guys ready. But when you look at it, Jordan Seaton, all of that goes into it, man. The charisma, the smile, the desire to get better, not the assumption of, well, I know I'm gonna be a pro one day, I can just meander through this. He wants to be dominant and be dominant early.
Right. Go ahead, Coach Ray.
So what you're saying is the character of these high caliber athletes are, I'm not just sitting on my morals. Like, you have a Travis Hunter, you have a Jordan Seaton who were the top at their position coming out of high school, and sometimes they feel like some of the kids of that stature might come and just say, I'm going to sit on my morals, I know I'm good. These kids, with the character that Coach Prime is looking for, they came in here and said, hey, I'm going to put in this work and show why I am the best, and I don't want anything handed to me.
Dog, like it's like you've been in the room, man. You write it in. This was the Bible, write it in red because you preach the gospel. It is exactly that. Like last April, we had guys when you would talk to them, they looking down at the floor. You had guys when you asked them what they want out of life, they looking around and can't answer. This group came in, and you can't tell the new guys from the old guys. They come in with that swagger. And what I like about from a work ethic standpoint is the guys that you think who are just all that, Shador, Travis, Jordan Seaton, Bentley, Khalil Benson. Those are the same guys who are practiced early and in practice late. And what eventually happens is when the receivers are walking off because practice is over, and they see Wester and Shepard about to work on some stuff, everybody turn around.
Okay.
You know, it's like it's contagious. When the old line, a couple of guys are there early doing something in the end zone, all of them migrate out there now, and so you have this iron is sharpening iron concept that nobody wants to be left behind, because if that dude who has every excuse not to be here early, every reason not to be here late, if he's doing it, who the hell am I not to do it?
Thanks.
Right. Hey, but again, I heard you say something earlier, Coach. Uncle Neely, is you said we got 5 starters, we got 5 backups, and we got 3 on the side, right?
Yep.
We got 3 others. Oh, hey y'all, about 2-3 months ago, I told you we needed 13 old linemen to be ready to go. Like I ain't listen. I can't make this stuff up, man. I can't make this stuff up. I don't just be talking just to hear myself talk. I just be trying to tell y'all again. I tell you, I'm just a nobody. Just trying to tell you that hey, it ain't rocket science. Yeah. To be good, you have to have quality backup, and you have to have somebody to back them up to feel comfortable about what you're saying. So with that being said, going into this season, can you explain to them the depth that y'all didn't have last year at offensive line compared to what you have now at offensive line?
Man, I think it's beyond that, Coach. We didn't have depth at D-line. We didn't have the depth that you needed or would like to have a receiver or corner, because those two positions, particularly during camp, you get them hamstring injuries come up. You got to be deep in them rooms. But particularly to the offensive line, man, the distance between the 1s and the 2s, it was like a distance between 1s and 4s.
Wow.
Like you didn't have a second group. You may have had one guy that could go out there and hold his position, but you didn't have a true second group. What you have now is you got a damn good set of 1s. You got a set of 2s that if you squint, you can't tell the difference between the 1s. And then you have another group beyond that by the time you get to week 3 or 4 and they've gone through August fall camp, they're going to be just as ready. They just got some growing to do. So I really think that you're going to see 5 to say 11 guys throughout the season that are on that offensive line. So because the way this system works, and we're not planning on 12 games, like our calendar is built out to 17 games. And if you're going to play 17 games, you got to have depth, because it's a long season. We are fortunate that in the Big 12 you get 2 bye weeks, but with some of these games, you take going to Lubbock, Texas, and you come and you ain't used to that humidity, you're gonna have to play more than 6 linemen in that game. Then when you start getting nicked up, you're gonna have to play more than 6 linemen. So we have some depth that is not only capable of protecting the quarterback believes in them as well, and we have some weapons out there now. Dog, if you give Shador one more second and you dump in Travis, who got Wester? Who got Shepard? Who got Horn in the slot? The matchup problems on these defenses is crazy. Your only chance to stop us is getting to the QB.
That's it.
And then what happens when we start?
I don't know no team in the Big 12 on their schedule got 4 cornerbacks that can cover this team.
No,
it can be a matchup problem
all day long. All day long. The speed, and the ability to make the catch is off the charts in that room. That wide receiver room. And get this, man. Don't sleep on Coach Jason Phillips, the wide receiver coach. He only at the University of Houston, he only led the nation in receiving 2 years in college. And as he'll tell you, his Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, Andre Ware, had to throw to somebody. So he has been a part of an offense where the quarterback wins the Heisman and the receivers lead the nation in receiving, and the receiver, albeit undersized for that level of play, goes to the NFL. Like, this dude knows what it's supposed to look like, and he brings that out of them. And all the way, I don't care if Caleb Mathis, who's up and coming, or Travis Hunter, all these guys see time and get their reps and make the most of them.
Right.
Here's my question.
Talking about the D-line, when you look at Shadozi and Barnes, and I look at the one-on-one drill
Sure.
from your show, Bucket show.
Hmm.
Man, the speed of BJ Green coming off that line, boy, it's impressive.
Yeah, Coach Prime just sums up BJ. Said, man, he a pro.
True.
That's just his work ethic, his speed, his motor, him wanting to be challenged. He wants to go up against the best people. He's fitting right in. I got a segment dropping Wednesday on him because people gonna get to see his personality. He been
Right.
opening up. He's kind of quiet and tell you he's about going back to business. But watch Wednesday morning on the PreGame Show Network. You're gonna see a BJ you haven't seen before.
All right.
He's fitting right in, man. But this D line. It has the speed and ability to get to the quarterback, and more important, stop the run.
Yeah.
It's not going to be no more than 3rd and 2s and a guy run for 28 yards.
Right.
That's them days are done, man. The coaching, the scheme, the talent is so upgraded, the depth that we're gonna. That's no longer part of our pedigree.
So
Okay.
when you look at we're getting ready to start fall camp.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you're looking for? Because some of the things that I'm looking for is the ones versus twos versus ones, because of how much competitiveness that you're seeing with just t-shirts and shirts on. Now you start to put them helmets and them shells on, and you start to see really how aggressive everybody get. What are you looking for going into this second time of fall camp at CU? What are you looking for? What do you focus on?
Man, just that Coach Dre, he slipped and called me coach a minute ago. Then he took it back, called me uncle, and I'm gonna let him know he can call me coach because I coached ball for a few years. And so I'm gonna answer you, Rob, just like I would have answered going in the camp at Mendenhall High School. Hey man, running these sprints up to the hills is one thing, but we don't really find out when the pads come on. And
Right.
so I love the competition and the camaraderie I've been seeing, but I can't wait till after that first week when the NCAA allows us to practice at full pads, and that's when you're gonna find out who want to be here, because it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be. Don't get me wrong, Colorado is a nice environment, but it still get hot. And somebody lowering a boom on you still hurts. And so who's gonna get up and want to give it right back versus go talk to the trainer? And so I'm looking for that. People have asked me all summer long, man, about the depth and who do I think is gonna start. And I say, man, all I can tell you right now is who's looking good. I ain't gonna know who's starting to that second week of camp because we gotta get some pads on.
Right.
I want to see who helmet is scuffed up. I want to hear that thing, that clack out there. So that's coming.
That's one of
They
the
lay
things that I
that clap at
always tell the people when they start talking about who's starting, who's not. Man, let me see when them pads come on, and let's do the measuring then, because it's anybody can look good in t-shirts and shorts. That's just given. When we get them pads on and you got to line up in mono versus mono, what we talking about? Are you gonna give up when it's time to condition because we just had a long practice?
And please
Crowds don't like to
understand,
practice for a long time, but we got to get this work in. And when we get into that finish line, you gonna give up or you gonna push forward to hell? So, hey, love it.
but see, that's the part I'm looking for, Robert. Is I love the one-on-one matchups, particularly when the trenches going against each other, ones versus twos, twos versus ones. And I'm not looking holding a guy getting beat against him. I want to see his reaction when he gets beat. I want to see what he does the next play, his next opportunity, or the next practice, because that was the problem in games last year. We'd have a guy get beat, and now he's looking in the stands for the popcorn man instead of refocusing and locking back in. That team last year did not experience enough adversity to in fall camp to where when you got to a game and had adversity, you knew how to react to it. And so I'm looking for Shiloh Sanders loves to call it manufactured adversity. They just throwing stuff at us, But you have to do that because I got to know who I can trust. And right now, I know who's fast. I know who look good in their t-shirts. I know who look good on the computer when you upload the data. But we're gonna find out in about 10 days who look good when the pads on.
All right. Hey, I got a super chat here from Junior Boxing. He said, Uncle Neely, can you speak to the transformation of the running back room?
Dude, it's amazing. Pardon my French. I don't know if we can cuss on your show, but it's amazing how you can go from sugar to shit back to sugar, and like overnight. Remember this spring, we lost the whole room.
Yeah, we did.
It was like a mass exodus. One guy came in, and coincidentally, a bunch of people wanted to go out. Now, I'm not saying they didn't want to compete. Like there was some other issues, But I just know calendar-wise, Coach Dre, one guy came in, a bunch of guys went out. But now you have a room where I think that situationally you're going to be able to use multiple backs. But if I had to give a guy just like that freshman Michael, man,
he look good, don't
he can break one for 30 and he can get you a first down on the 4th and 1. Like he is whatever need to be done.
Wow.
I like what I see in him. Because we were doing a different level of installs for the spring game because you're not showcasing everything. Didn't get to see a lot of his hand work, like rolling out to the flat on the screen or something.
Right.
But I love this running back room and the diversity of it from a situational standpoint. And again, it's coached by a guy who's been there, done that. Coach Flea has been a head coach. Coach Flea has been in the Hall of Fame at his high school. Coach Flea has been in the Hall of Fame at his college at Howard that he later on coached. He had successful running games at Jackson State where you were leading the conference in yards to you. So he knows what he's doing, man. And now that he has the tools in the toolbox for the situation and an offensive coordinator and an offensive line coach that he has a better chemistry and understanding with, I'm looking for more success in the run game. Because frankly, guys, our inability to run lost us more games than our inability to stop the run last year.
Okay.
Had we had the ability to run and milk out some clock, example, Stanford, one first down, they don't win that game.
Right.
Colorado State, even though we won, one first down and changing the clock situation, that game doesn't go in overtime.
In overtime. Right.
Who was that? Utah? Utah was a less than 10-point game. We couldn't milk the clock. And so, as y'all know, because y'all are sports guys and coaches, an incomplete pass stops the clock.
Stop it.
3 runs of 4 yards, you done moved the chains. That's 4 minutes of game time you done eroded. We had no ability to do that last year.
Right.
Oh no, hold on, Neely, hold on now. But the people will say that because it's Coach Prime's son, we wanted to throw the ball because we want Shador to throw for more yards. That's why we was throwing the ball. Can you explain? Can you say that again for the people in the back they didn't understand when you said we didn't have the ability to run the ball because we was, because Coach Prime was over there telling the offensive coordinator to play daddy ball. Just tell them again for the people in the back.
Let me reverse engineer that, Coach Dre, and start at the end. What Coach Prime wants more than anything is to win. And so if that means Shador threw for 175 and we won, then Shador going to throw for 175. If it means throwing for 350 and we win, we're going to throw for 350. But the bottom line last year, to the people in the back, we had no choice but to throw the ball on 3rd and 2 because we couldn't get 2 yards running. Like and then the guy catch the ball and then also keep this dog. One of our best weapons was a walk-on wide receiver that we moved to tight end. We didn't even have a true tight end, that was some thump to him for some extra protection. So it's like the dynamic of why we had to pass so much rest on if you can't block and protect the quarterback, you can't block for the run either. So I don't understand how the guy who got the most sacks or was sacked the most in college football, y'all now believing that they was going to block for a Heisman running back. Like it's the same personnel. Coach Dre, to tell the people in the back, last year we did not have the ability to consistently run the ball, and that horrifically hindered our ability to control the clock. And because we had to be pass heavy, that would flip the clock to the advantage of the opposing team. And so late in games, we couldn't force them to use their timeouts. We couldn't milk the clock down. They would get extra possessions. If y'all would go look at the stats, I guarantee you that the teams that played us had more possessions when they played us than when they played anybody else.
Wow.
We were giving the ball right back.
Yep.
Wow.
3 and outs.
Hey, hold on, just on another note, because we here and we brothers, and I tell people all the time, I'm not a content creator. I'm just here to support my brothers and to lend my knowledge. But can you talk to the space of having you Bucky with his own thing with Willow, and then Darius with his own thing. On top of CU producing their own content, and everybody being able to get along and be one and be a family and understand that this all about one goal. Because I think people get lost in that, even in this realm. That to me, it's not about the one eye. It's about what we can do as a unit. Can you speak on that and how you guys operate that as a whole?
Man, you brothers got some outstanding questions, man. Deep stuff. I love it. Uh, one thing you have to understand in this space, particularly if you're working with Coach Prime and CU, is that it's not about you. Like it's the pregame show is not about me. It is about promoting these student athletes and helping them become the best that they can be. And that's getting them ready for interviews. That's showcasing their talents to the world. Man, we used to get so many comments last year and even back at Jackson State from parents because they had the ability to see their kids. Like I saw my son in the cafeteria. I don't have to wait till September when I travel to a game to see him. I saw him in the team meeting room. I saw the interview y'all did with him. The stuff that this means to the families and the players, man, you can't put a calculator on it. And because we are not territorial, Bucky, Deion Sanders Jr. with Well Off Media, Darius Sanders with Reach the People, and myself with the pregame show, we're not in competition with each other. We're on the same team.
Right.
And so we'll be in the same meeting room some mornings recording the same speech. And by the time you see it on the 3 different channels, you thought you heard 3 different speeches because we don't see the world the same way. So we don't record and edit the same way.
Right.
So we're not stepping on each other. And then when you add in what CU is doing, it's been unbelievable, Coach, the number of calls I get, emails I get from other schools around the nation saying, hey, how do we do that? Like, show us a copy of what's on paper or what allows it. Like, we want to do that too. Because the biggest thing that people are missing in that equation is what this means for recruiting. Like you're not paying a coach to get on a plane. You ain't renting a car. You ain't staying at a hotel. You ain't buying a meal. You're showing your program worldwide with the push of a button on YouTube.
Wow. Uncle Neely, that college.
Hold on. Say that again for the people that's in the back, because I don't think they literally heard what you just said.
So it was Rob. It was a byproduct of being necessary at Jackson State. HBCUs don't have big recruiting budgets, and so one of the ways that we could show our program was to show our program. And so we just took that same blueprint to the Power 5, and now you see man, other schools' social media blowing up because they understand recruiting wise, man, kids want to be seen. Kids want to know what they're getting themselves into. We people was on Coach Prime saying why he don't do house visits, and of course there's the reason of him being Coach Prime. He's a celebrity, and if he go to this house and then go to this one, well, you lose that one because you didn't go to both of them. But the bigger thing is this happens more time than not. If we offer to go visit somebody, they say no. We want to come see what we've been seeing on YouTube.
Yeah.
We want to come see the stadium. We want to come see the locker room. Show us where the DJ be set up. Show us where Ralphie run out. They see so much of this. It's like when you watching movies and then you finally go to New York, you be like, oh man, that's that building that Spider-Man be swinging on. It's like they don't want you to come to them. They want to come see where the action takes place. And that's all because Coach Prime has created this space where it's open. And, we show what's going on in this program, good or bad. If we have a good day of practice, y'all going to know it. If jokers get to fighting because somebody was loafing, y'all gonna know it. We don't hide anything.
So right about that. But we got that EA Sports game out. 2-part question. Are you playing it? Are you playing it? And the second part is, will teams use this game as a recruiting tool?
So let me go with that first part because you need to know this. When I log off with y'all, I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see this. Let me see.
Oh man, he playing it.
Oh yeah, look, and I got Colorado is number 2.
Oh,
we right behind Georgia. I done climbed up.
Climbed up, ain't you?
I climbed up from the bottom. So I love the game. I'm playing it, And yes, I think this is going to be an exceptional recruiting tool for colleges, to the degree that the group of 5 or the mid majors and the HBCUs, man, is really going to hurt them, because you're going to have a kid in the next 2 or 3 years that forget playing time. I'm gonna go to this school because they own the game, and I just make myself a start on the game instead of being somewhere I can't be on the game. Like people want their names in lights, man.
They
People
do.
pay attention, and this game is giving so much attention. And if they keep making it year after year, there's no doubt that the schools who are featured in this game are gonna be sitting at some mama's couch and saying, now the other thing, you come play for us now, you're gonna be on EA Sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's gonna have an impact.
They're gonna have an impact.
They said they need that gamers tag. They need that gamers tag. They need you some uploaded on the channel. They need the proof.
Hey man, I'm gonna do a live one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do. I love it, man. I love it. I love
Speak
it.
on.
It's realistic. One thing I tell you about this, I don't know if y'all played it yet, but when you throw that thing to Travis Hunter, he catch it. Ain't nobody catching him. That's different.
Yeah. Ain't nobody catching the dude.
Come on, man.
He got. Hey, Uncle Neely, speak on Shiloh, man. What's the status of Shiloh? Is he healthy? A lot of people saying he's injured. Is he ready to go? If the game was to start in a month?
Man, we don't have a person on the roster be ready to go. If the game were tomorrow or next week, so we're trying to get everybody ready. For 5 weeks from now. Shiloh is getting game ready, man. One thing about his attitude is so infectious, and his command of the defense is hard to replace. But that's the beauty of this team and the depth that we have. When you look at Cameron Silver-Craig, when you look at Preston Hodge, even now, man, like the addition of Preston Hodge and how that's going to help Shiloh, be free and run around. You now can move Travis down to the slot and do stuff. And y'all probably seen that at the spring game. So
Right.
This last year, you had situations, and coach, this is never a good situation. You really don't want your safety leading the team in tackles.
Yeah. That's your linebackers ain't doing what they supposed to do.
Last year, Shiloh was one of the leaders in tackles, and I think this year he'll be one of the leaders in pass breakups and interceptions, because under Livingston's system, none of that junk should be getting back to him. He should really be the ball hawk and do what he loves doing. So to answer your question, man, he's getting better and stronger, and he's looking forward to this season and getting his name called in for that draft.
Okay. Got a super chat again right now.
Good.
Chris got a $9.99 super chat said, ask Neely, could you ask him if Colorado will have a prime cleat in different colors to whole team this year?
Man, there's so much coming at us so fast. I've seen so many mock-ups of the cleats that's going to be worn. And then I don't know if the whole team will be in the same ones, from a design standpoint, because a lot of times they got so much damn tape on them, you don't know what they're wearing anyway. But there are some variations of it that are unique to Colorado football. And so we'll see if the whole team is outfitted. The whole team will be outfitted in some version of them, but I don't know if they'll all be playing in the same day.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Oh no, he hit the question I was going to ask him about the prime cleats and how that can help them in recruiting to understand that you.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to ask him.
Yeah, and then just people forget that Deion Sanders is worldwide known. Deion Sanders is not in Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials because he's the head coach of Colorado. He's in KFC commercials because he's Deion Sanders.
True.
But everybody who sees that commercial knows he coaches at Colorado, so it helps that. Same thing with Almond. Same thing. Look out for this. Here's one for you, BWatts. Breaking news for you.
Okay.
Coach Prime will leave practice on a Thursday or Friday, and he will fly to Canton, Ohio, and he will induct Devin Hester into the Hall of Fame. And the world will see him doing that, but it ain't because he's the head coach of Colorado. It's because he's Deion Sanders Hall of Famer that Devin Hester looks up to. And so folks got to understand, man, this dude is who he is before he was this. and everything that comes with it, sucks to Boulder, Colorado, and that can't do nothing but help recruiting. And let me tell y'all this. Here's another thing that America does. When a brother does something in America that America has always been doing, but does it better than anybody else, the next thing they do is change the rules. So here's what's coming in the future.
Amen.
Because the SEC can't get Lil Wayne to bring the team out. The NCAA gonna say, hey, no more celebrities in the locker room, or no more this, or no more that.
Yep.
They have all of Coach Prime's life tried to change the rules to keep him from being Coach Prime. And no matter what rule they do, he's still Coach Prime. So this train, man, it ain't gonna stop. It's regardless of what numerical value the record is this year, we're going to have a successful season. We're going to get Miss Peggy to a bowl game. We're going to be a much better team. And for guys like Feinbaum to say Colorado football is irrelevant, shouldn't be being talked about, he proves it's irrelevant because he's sitting there talking about it. If it was so irrelevant, why are you bringing it up?
Exactly.
The fact that you're trying to convince me that it's not relevant shows me I might better pay attention to Colorado football because he's trying to tell me not to.
That's right. You see it right on there, Uncle Neely.
I think that's the point that people miss. Because he said it, you think it's because he really means it. He's just really scared. He's scared for his brand and what it's going to do for the SEC. Because now the big-time SEC recruit going to say, I can go here and play for him. And then also talk about how it is with the unlimited coaching now and how this is going to affect these guys that they've been trying to keep out of coaching. Because there's some coaches that's been trying to coach that they've been trying to keep out of coaching because they don't want this kind of effect going on. But now I don't think they'll be able to stop them with this unlimited coaching. What you say about that, Uncle Neely?
I think one of the things that's also going to happen in that regard, Coach Dre, is much like you guys have been asking about from the content standpoint, that when we get back next week, you're going to be able to learn about and see the impact of graduate assistant coaches because we'll be able to show them now. We'll be able to show them coaching in the role they play, which is only going to further their careers. You got a Coach Rashad that's coaching receivers with Coach Phillips that you really hadn't gotten to know because we're not allowed to talk to him or talk about his coaching prowess. Well, now that's going to change. And so and with the addition of now 23 headsets and the head coach, selects who wears them, you're going to see guys like that, man, getting their flowers and they're going to be moving up in the coaching ranks because now they're not just hidden anymore. You get to see their impact and learn about them. So I'm excited about it. Coach Prime understands that his success as a head coach at Colorado is going to open more doors for coaches that look like him to get opportunities because it shows it can happen. And it shows, it can happen and you can keep hair on your face that you don't have to, shave and conform or stop listening to the music you like to listen to or, squeeze your butt cheeks together when you walk. You can truly be yourself in this space. And his success is going to open the doors for more people to do that. And anytime you got that kind of change in America, potentially or actual, people get scared, man. And when you hear the Feinbaums of the world talking about, oh, don't look over there, ain't nothing taking place over there. It's like you said, Coach Dre, that's not coming out of news and journalism. That's coming out of fear.
Fear. You're right. That's it. All right, Rob, go ahead. What you got about 10 more minutes?
Oh no! So when you talk about the process and how things look for Colorado, I want to go back to something that you said that I think a lot of people missed out on. When you talked about every time Prime do something, they make a rule. One of the things I love about Prime is he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead in invading and advancing something before they can even wake their eyes up. Because you change this, okay, cool. I got 2 or 3 other things that I was thinking about doing. Now I'm finna hit you with this, and then when it come out, everybody like, dang man, Prime's a genius. Well, he already thought about that 3 or 4 months ago. You just now getting it. So I know I want to. The question is, sitting in those meetings with Coach Prime and understanding his game plan and what's happening to see the transition of how the word and how the media is taking it. I just want to talk about the spotlight of what you get to see from the everyday realm of Coach Prime coming up with these creative ideas and then seeing them in process and then seeing how the NCAA tries to take something away and then Coach Prime switches up and adds something else into the mix to keep their things going.
Do y'all remember when Marshawn Lynch said, "I'm just about that action, boss"?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget he was talking to Deion Sanders when he said that. Deion Sanders was with the NFL Network. Marshawn Lynch wouldn't give anybody an interview, but for his respect for Coach Prime, he's like, "I'll talk to you." I say that to say, we remember his 14 years in the NFL and got a gold jacket, but we forget about his 14 years in journalism and broadcasting and marketing and branding. Like, this guy knows how to tell a story. He knows how to present to the outside world what's taking place on the inside world. He knows how to market and show. Like, he'll tell you when he was at Florida State, he would sit down and write a book of sayings. So I already got him on my head when they interview me. Like, he is one step ahead of that kind of thing. And here is like a perfect situation, Rob. The commissioner of the Big 12 gets it. He wants cameras on the sideline. He wants cameras in the locker room. He wants documentary style stuff for all teams because he understands for the Big 12 to recruit other teams in and for the Big 12 to become what the SEC is, people have to know what we're about. And so he's harnessing that energy that you got with a Coach Prime or a Gundy at Oklahoma State. Like, he wants to showcase personalities and put it out there because people migrate toward people. So why would you not use your most charismatic folks to tell the stories? And Coach Prime understands that. He'll tell y'all, like, "Hey, man, I know there's a light on me, so come stand next to me and the light gonna get on you." Just be ready because it's gonna show your blemishes or your good parts now. So, but it's coming, and then you take that light and you do it with other folks. And so he gets it, man. When he's looking and thinking, he's always about the visual aspect of it. Like when he it ain't just for Instagram talk. When he lays his clothes out, he literally lays them out on the floor, like the shirt, the pants, turn the side, the socks, the watch. Like, he visualizes everything he does, and then he executes that vision. And so, and that includes, Rob, to what you're asking, what if this happens and I can't do that? Okay, well, if I can't wear the wristband like that, then I'll put the headband on just around my neck. Like, he got a way out to get where he's trying to go. And he's not a guy, and this is what really burns them. You ain't just going to tell him no. And then if you tell him no, your second response can't be, "Well, Coach, that's the way we've always done it." That's a wrap right there. If all you got is "that's the way we've always done it," because he'll come up with an idea and somebody say, "Well, Coach, I don't think we can do that." "Well, why can't we do it?" "Well, because we ain't never done it."
Wrong answer.
No, that's totally wrong answer. He's totally wired to let's go where we ain't been before.
Wow. Go ahead, Coach Ray.
No, I mean I mean, when you talk about the change and the charisma that he brings, can you talk about what he's done, not just for that football team, but what he's done for the community of Boulder and the surrounding areas? Like I said, I keep telling people, I remember when he first got there, and I think you, Bucky, and you guys were in a restaurant eating, and the lady was in there, looked like she was in tears because they were down bad, and they just knew that him coming was going to bring. So not that just his impact on this program and this college, but what he's done to the area. And tell me a coach that you know doing that. You get what I'm saying? Who's changing that kind of culture in that kind of way?
Before you go, Neely, I remember the time before Prime was there, what it looked like in Boulder. But go ahead, Neely.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, to Coach Dre, that if they were doing it, we would know about it because that ain't something you can hide.
Right.
So I just know because I ain't seen it, that mean they ain't doing it. And one thing about Deion Sanders, like I said earlier, he is Deion Sanders. Like, it doesn't matter that he is, the title of head coach at University of Colorado. Just his presence alone, when people hear he's at a restaurant or notice where he regularly eats, business goes up at that restaurant. You got hotels now, man, in Boulder that all the way to Denver are sold out on game weekends, and they doubling, tripling the prices and still getting it. That wasn't happening when that team was 1-11. The economic impact that he has there, man, is in the multiple tens to hundreds of millions. Just his presence of people who are making money, and that ain't even getting to that the school, has gone up in applications to enroll, and 400% increase in merchandise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He has a much bigger impact, than just football coach. And one of the things I appreciate about him, and not just in this media space, in every meeting and conversation that he's in, he goes well out of his way to include people who look like us in that process.
Okay.
And so there's sometimes that it may just can't happen because the timeline don't work out, but he is always thinking about, who can we bring along that would not have this opportunity if we didn't give it to them. And so whether that's women in sports, minorities in sports, you look around that building, man, you see all kinds of people, and they're particularly from the South where there ain't a lot of opportunities. And
Right.
what they do with this opportunity go from is on them. One thing Prime ain't gonna do, he ain't gonna hold your hand and do your work for you, but he gonna give you the opportunity to show the world what you got.
That's good. That's good to know. Go ahead, Rob.
What's next for, I see, as you take the pregame show, now you turn into a network. What's your vision for the next steps of the pregame show? Because we didn't really get into the light about what's your brand and what's next for your brand, how you're trying to build your brand to do something, because you may not be always with Prime. You might be looking at something to go bigger. So what's the next things that you got on your plate that you're trying to do to help grow your brand?
Hey, brother, I appreciate that question, man. It felt like I texted to you something to say, ask me this, but I didn't. Like that's a perfect, well executed question. What I want to do, my man, is, and I've said this to folks, I want to do what Coach Prime did for me, and that's give people opportunity and exposure, and then the chips fall where they may. People don't lie about what they like. People don't lie about what they spend their time and their money on. And
That's
what
it.
most people lack is just the opportunity to be showcased. And so I always said, like, I remember it at Jackson State, starting this program and trying to get to 1,000, trying to get to 5,000. And I always said, man, when I get to that 75,000 subscriber, 100,000 subscriber, which I'm blessed to be right closing in on 105,000, I said I was going to keep the pregame show. Like, that's going to be what I do with Coach Prime. But I was going to shift the overall brand to a network, because what I'm not going to convince myself of is that 104,000 people are only interested in me. Those people got other interests beyond me, Colorado, and Coach Prime. So if you got a sports show like this and you want to show yourself, to a different audience, man, I want to partner, and I want to, add people to my network, and we do the revenue split just like the big networks do. Like when you watch Abbott Elementary on ABC, and then the next day it's on Hulu, they all eating, dog.
True.
like if you didn't get to catch it Wednesday when it aired, you can go watch it the next day on this one. And then when you watch it on Hulu, it tells you when it comes on ABC. And so it's like, in my mind, now one of these experts could tell me different. If BWatts, after he's live on his channel on Sunday nights, is then aired in replay on Tuesdays on the pregame show network, how does that hurt me or him?
Right.
Don't.
Because it's telling people over here, if you want to watch it when it first come on, go over there. And if you missed it over there, you can catch it here. We all eat. And so that's why I'm shifting to the network kind of concept. So I don't care if it's brother with a cooking show. I don't care if it's quality content, that it's 100,000 people out there and they interested in financing, they interested in cars, they interested in that. Let me tell you this, brother. When you watch NBC, when you watch ABC, they ain't got just one show on.
No.
They got something for everybody on.
You right.
And every hour, every 30 minutes, something different come on.
Coming on.
Why
Really?
are we
28
limited
minutes.
to just one thing?
Yep. You're right. You're right.
Like even the taco stand, he might only sell tacos, but he got more than one kind of taco.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's when you ask that, RobDaMan, that's what I'm migrating towards, like adding some other diversity to it and helping people from my platform blow theirs up. Because what I'm not doing is like, hey, if you're gonna come over here, you got to stop yours. No, keep yours.
Right.
Because just like ABC and NBC and CBS and ESPN and Disney Channel, all these people could be successful. Why can't we work together and be successful?
True.
True. And you hit that right there in the head. A lot of people are afraid to work with other people when all you're going to do is, if you elevate and come together, you're going to get more blessed in the situation. But people forget about it, right? Because it's always a competition level thing. Instead of, oh, I got to go knock this person out, I got to go knock that person out. Why knock the person down when y'all can elevate together? Because all y'all doing is trying to bring more light into, different, whatever the topic may be. You just trying to bring light to the situation to show the program off. So make this about that.
One of the things that people with bigger platforms will even convince themselves is that they don't want to work with smaller platforms because there ain't nothing in there for them. And here's my pushback on that. If I got 10,000 people and you got 1,000 people, your 1,000 ain't the same people in my 10.
True.
That's a whole different 1,000. So how do I go to 11,000? I go to 11,000 by working with somebody with 1. And how do they go to 10? They go to 10 by working with somebody with 9 more than they got. Like a rising tide gonna lift all boats. If you put your boat in the lake and I put my boat in the lake and we pump in water, it ain't like my boat gonna go up and yours don't. They gonna both do this. Now my boat may be bigger, your boat may be newer, yours may be white, mine may be black. Like that ain't what I'm talking about. We're gonna all grow if we work together. And because the beauty of this thing is, man, people are gonna tune in to where they want to get the news from. Right. So when we talk about the president when the show started, every network in America right now talking about the same thing.
Same thing.
And ain't nobody sitting back going, well, no, I ain't gonna talk about that tonight because CBS talking about it. Well, I might not want to hear from CBS. I might want to hear from you.
Yep.
And so you can't water yourself down. One thing I know, Rob, and this is speaking to the point you made. If I got a candle and mine lit, if I light yours, mine don't go out. The room just get brighter. Because now we got 2 candles.
That's them gems there.
With somebody else's, yours don't go dimmer. The room get brighter. I'm trying to light up the room. I'm trying to. With 2, 4, 6, 8 years from now, they talking to Coach Dre, not Feinbaum.
Yeah.
They talking to RobDaMan, not Skip Bayless.
Right.
And the only way we gonna do that is we gotta push and promote each other. So when BWatts hit me like, hey man, can you come on? I mean, I can be playing a video game right now. I could be enjoying the day off, like, man,
yeah.
Because somebody allowed me to come on when I was getting in.
Right.
And so who would I be to, like, quote unquote made it and like, no, man, I ain't working with nobody now. I'm good. Like, no, I want to work. I want to work with anybody that want to work.
True.
And we don't even have to agree. Like, I ain't mad at somebody if you don't like Coach Prime. I ain't mad at somebody if you think Texas quarterback better than Shador. We can have a debate. We don't have to agree.
There you go. Say that again for the people in the back, sir.
The big boys, when I say big boys, I'm talking about the white guys. They get to disagree all the time. That's what makes the show. But we want to keep things to ourselves and not push and motivate and not let the people decide. Like, no, man. Let's work together. So anytime y'all want to come on my program and talk, man, the doors are open.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. And the last thing, Coach Ray.
No, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna end the show. Go ahead and let them break it down. I'll end the show at the end.
All right. Let's get off this Colorado thing. Let's shift a little bit before we get off here. What do you think about LeBron James and Bronny, Uncle Neely? NWA.
I think it's similar. I know you want to get out Colorado, but I think it's similar to how people handle Coach Prime. I think it's similar to how people handle LeVar Ball. I think people get liking somebody mixed up with acknowledging something. Because I don't like you, I don't want to acknowledge your success. And just with like I said earlier about Jenny Bus and Dr. Bus, what I don't understand about this LeBron thing, and let's make it Bronny. Bronny was picked 55th, and he out there playing like the 55th pick.
Right.
Like he ain't done nothing that the 55th pick don't do. Meanwhile, you got the second pick overall. Numbers is worse than Bronny's, and ain't nobody saying a word. Like,
Ain't
bro,
said,
that's
hey,
who
he
we
ain't done nothing.
That man went 0
like,
for 15.
yeah, that's who.
Yeah.
Now we picked that joker second overall, and he ain't made a bucket.
Hey, he made a bucket. Yeah.
Is doing what the 55th pick do.
And then the next game, he scored 2 points.
But we know, just like the same scrutiny when they dropped Travis down because of Deion Sanders, when they made Shador. Oh, let me tell you this story real quick. When Coach Prime, I should have said this earlier when y'all asked me about Jackson State. When Coach Prime was announced as Jackson State coach, that was September 21st, 2020. We didn't play football that fall season, because of COVID. But high school football in Texas was still taking place. So lo and behold, Trinity High School was playing Clarksdale High School in Mississippi. Clarksdale about an hour and a half, 2 hours from me. And I said, man, let me go up here and see if this dude playing daddy ball or not. I'm finna drive to Clarksdale and I'm gonna watch this game and I'm just finna evaluate from a coaching mindset. I called my partner at third quarter. I said, dog, the only reason Shador Sanders ain't a 5-star is that his daddy's Deion Sanders. That man, he is what he is, but they not giving him his props because of his daddy. And you see the same thing with Bronny. People want to argue whether he was ready, for the NBA or not. Well, he was ready for their college.
Right.
And they had no problem, selling his jerseys at their college. They ain't had no problem having him on the team at their college. And we know basketball teams, are 12 to 15 people. Man, them last 6 guys, they ain't even got shorts on under their pants. and they've been making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars a year, and ain't nobody said a word.
Right.
But arguably the best basketball player of all time, top 3 or 5, number 1 in scoring, whichever way you look at, his son get drafted 55th and miss a shot, and you would think he done killed 10 people.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it, man. So to answer your question, I think we should be looking at the number 2 pick who ain't made a layup. And he beat the 55th pick, and he playing like the number 55th pick.
Yeah, you're right.
Not even to say that, the dude that just won the Eastern Conference MVP and the Finals MVP had worse numbers than Bronny in the summer league coming into the league, but nobody says anything about that. Jaylen Brown had worse numbers than Bronny James had in the summer league, but nobody talks about that, and I think it comes back to what we talked about a minute ago. Everybody's so busy trying to push somebody down to push themselves up when you don't have to do that. Okay,
Coach,
Luke Walton did the same thing for his son. Nobody said a word. Ding dot was said when Luke Walton's daddy made sure that his son got these jobs, got into the NBA. Nobody said anything. And then I guess nobody remember that Bronny almost lost his life last year.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers that this kid was laying on a hospital bed and didn't nobody know if he was going to live or die. When y'all just sit like the world too short, life too short for us to be out here hate. And he's still a kid. And he living out a dream. And his daddy has the opportunity. It ain't like I can see if Bronny James was little tink on the team. He can't shoot the ball. He can't dribble. He can't do nothing. He was doing this. Okay, maybe somebody would look at it, but the kid was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a McDonald's All-American. He could have went to any school in America. I just want to know what was so wrong about what LeBron did. Bronny James said, I just wanted to hear my name called. He didn't say where he wanted to hear it called. He didn't say he had to be the number 1 pick. He said, I just wanted to hear my name called. And we'll push a kid down. Go ahead, Papa.
Coach Dre, let me say this to you, man. And this might step on some toes, and it might offend some folks out there, but I mean it like in a loving way, because a lot of times, the Bible tells us don't cast your pearls on the swine. So like, don't give your gifts to people that don't appreciate them. And a lot of times, as Black people in America, we get stuck in that kind of cycle. So let me say this. If you've been working somewhere 20 years and you can't influence somebody else getting hired, you have wasted 20 years of your life working there.
Wow.
All LeBron James did is work somewhere 20 years and say, hey, man, I know a guy. And I don't care if you work at the plant, the assembly line, the gas station, or you're a surgeon at the hospital. If you've been working somewhere 20 years and HR don't want to hear a damn thing you got to say, you can't even recommend somebody. Now, the decision theirs. They got to make the decision. But you're not even in a position to present a name to somebody. Man, you done wasted 20 years working there.
Your name ain't got no value.
None.
None whatsoever.
So I'm supposed to be mad at LeBron because his name hold weight.
Facts.
That's a good point.
Like you said, I wasn't mad at Luke Walton. His name held weight. I wasn't mad at Dr. Bus. His name held weight.
You know what? You know what most people get mad at LeBron for is because he's didn't help everybody that he grew up with him elevate.
Yep.
All his brothers that play with him on that high school team are successful. They got a coaching job or they started them a sports agency. They had some type of affiliation and they did it all differently than the way it was supposed to be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why would we be mad about that?
A lot of people are. I don't understand why.
Because they don't. Because again, we devalue us. It ain't y'all. A lot of us, we look around and we look at other people and say other races and this person and that person. We devalue us.
Yeah.
You don't hear. You get what I'm saying? We get mad with Paul Feinbaum, but somebody else will come out here. You get what I'm saying? Y'all will be super. You know, y'all a little upset with Paul Feinbaum, but somebody else said, and y'all are crucified. Let Shannon Sharp have said that, or somebody like that. Y'all are crucified him.
Yeah.
You'd have crucified him. So you know that's what it comes down to.
All right, guys. That's about it on this end. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate your like button. I also want to say a special thanks to Uncle Neely of the PreGame Show for being our guest. We appreciate it. And I just want to say to y'all out there, hey, share whatever you have with your sisters and your brothers. You always have more than enough to wish to share. And always remember, you be good to God. God will be good to you. Coach Dre?
Before he end, I just one more question I had to ask Neely before we leave.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask Neely, what has been your favorite memory with Coach Prime? Somebody asked that in the chat, so I wanted to make sure you got asked. What was your favorite memory so far with being working with Coach Prime before we get out of here?
Man, it's one that I reminded him of interviewing him about 6 months ago. It has nothing to do with football. He and I were back here at Jackson. We would go to lunch a lot together, just get away from the building instead of eating on campus. And Mississippi get hot. And this is one of them days in August that it was every bit of 102. And we came up on a red light, and there was this sister. She looked like to be, maybe mid-20s. And she had probably like a 3-year-old with her. The kid could walk, but needed hand holding. And I mean, they were dripping with sweat, and Coach Prime let the window down. Didn't know him, let the window down and asked her, they need a ride, anything. And she said, no, we're just going right there. And he opened up his wallet, gave her like $200 cash and said, get something for the baby, put the rest on your bills. I don't even think she knew who he was. And he didn't say, hey man, record this and post it on the ground. After the interaction, he was like, Neely, the blessing of that. He said, man, I don't never have cash with me. And had we took just a little longer at the restaurant or had the other light called us, we wouldn't have been in the same spot at the same time as her. I wouldn't even have seen her. But man, seeing her out in that heat and the way God is taking care of me, I just had to help take care of her. Wow. And so that's one of those glimpses of him, man, that people don't get to see because they really be thinking, because we show so much, they really be thinking that it's all about him, that he wants the attention. And it's the furthest thing from the truth, man. He spends the bulk of his day blessing other people and putting the light on them, not on himself. And so my biggest takeaway in the time I've known him, now going into my 5th football season with him, is it really ain't about him, man. It's about the folks around him.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, I like first and foremost, I like to thank BWatts. I like to thank Uncle Neely for coming on with us. Like I say, we just some brothers that's trying to spread positivity and spread the news. I want to give BWatts his flowers because he could have done this with anybody. For him to pick me and my brother Rob to be on here and every Sunday to do our thing, I appreciate it. Rob, you know what I think of you, bro. I talk to you every day. I love you like anybody else. One thing I will say, only when it's dark can you see the stars. Only when it's dark can you see the stars. And I leave you like I always leave you. If I send no ships out, no ships will come in. And if there's no contest, nobody can win. Games can't be won if they haven't been played, and prayers can't be answered if they haven't been prayed. I am your man, Coach Drake. That is the only one, Uncle Neely. My man BWatts and my brother Rob the Man. We appreciate you. We'll see y'all next week.
Appreciate it, Uncle Neely.
Yes, sir. Man, I
Rob,
love you. Anytime, brother. Anytime. You got my cell number.
I got you, bro. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All
God
right,
bless.
you have a good night and have a good week.